Imagine a scene frozen in time, not by ice or ancient amber, but by an unsettling, inexplicable stillness. Picture a remote, dust-covered cavern hidden deep within the sprawling, majestic wilderness of Yosemite National Park. Now, within that profound silence, visualize 18 pairs of hiking shoes, perfectly preserved, eerily lined up as if their owners had simply stepped out for a moment, never to return. This isn't a forgotten display from a bygone era. This is a discovery made just recently, 36 years after 18 American students vanished without a trace in 1987, reigniting one of the park's most haunting and baffling unsolved mysteries. The sheer, visceral impact of such an image, an artifact of everyday life, transformed into a silent, profound testament to an enduring enigma, immediately pulls at something fundamental within us, the human need for answers, for closure, for understanding the inexplicable. For decades, the disappearance of that group, led by avid hikers Emily Carter and Daniel Evans, has been a chilling campfire tale among park rangers and a source of enduring sorrow for families. They had embarked on what should have been a picturesque journey through the Sierra Nevada foothills, a landscape celebrated for its breathtaking beauty and challenging trails. Instead, the wilderness swallowed them whole. Seasoned park rangers, like Agent Thomas Riley, whose extensive search efforts yielded nothing but frustrating dead ends, were left with an empty void where 18 lives once were. The park, a symbol of nature's grandeur and a sanctuary for millions, held its secrets close, leaving behind only questions that echoed through the years. The recent discovery of these 18 pairs of shoes fundamentally alters everything. It's not merely a clue, it's an artifact that screams louder than any human voice, yet offers no coherent explanation. Why were only their shoes found? How did they come to rest, meticulously arranged, in such a remote, undisturbed chamber, untouched by time and the elements for nearly 4 decades? This isn't about finding a lost backpack or a misplaced map. This is about an intentional or perhaps profoundly unintentional placement of personal effects that speaks to a narrative far more complex and unsettling than a simple hiking accident or getting lost. The very act of leaving footwear behind, especially in a wilderness setting, defies logic and expectation, prompting a chilling re-evaluation of every assumption ever made about their fate. What does it mean when the natural world, a place we seek for solace and adventure, suddenly reveals a secret that feels fundamentally unnatural? This discovery challenges our perception of safety, of wilderness survival, and even of the boundaries of human experience. It forces us to confront not just the physical dangers of the wild, but the possibility of something far more elusive, something that eludes our conventional understanding of cause and effect. We are accustomed to mysteries eventually yielding to logic, to evidence, to the patient work of investigation. But what if the evidence itself is the greatest mystery? What if the answers we seek only lead to deeper, more unsettling questions that resonate with the very core of our fears about the unknown? This journey into the Yosemite enigma isn't just a recounting of facts. It's an exploration of the profound impact a single, baffling discovery can have on our understanding of history, human resilience, and the enduring power of the unexplained. We will delve into the initial search efforts, the park's own complex history of disappearances, and the psychological ripple effects of such a prolonged, unresolved tragedy. More importantly, we will confront the unsettling implications of these perfectly preserved shoes, asking not just where the students went, but how their footwear became the silent, sole witness to a story that defies all rational explanation, leaving behind an even deeper, more terrifying puzzle for us to unravel. The wilderness, it seems, has finally spoken, but its message is shrouded in an enigma that only deepens with every layer we attempt to peel back. To truly grasp the magnitude of the recent discovery in Yosemite, One must first understand the historical tapestry of the park itself, a landscape as renowned for its breathtaking beauty as it is for its silent, sometimes sinister, capacity to swallow human endeavor whole. Far from being an anomaly, disappearances within vast natural preserves like Yosemite are a recurring, albeit tragic, facet of their history. For generations, the allure of the Sierra Nevada has drawn adventurers, explorers, and casual hikers alike, yet its rugged grandeur conceals a formidable challenge. The park's immense scale, encompassing over 200 square miles of wilderness, presents an overwhelming canvas where individuals can, and do, vanish without a trace, leaving behind only speculation and sorrow. Historically, this region has presented an unparalleled test for even the most experienced outdoors enthusiasts. The granite domes and sheer cliffs, deep river canyons, dense forests, and unpredictable weather patterns combine to create an environment where a wrong turn, a sudden storm, or an unforeseen accident can quickly escalate into a life-threatening ordeal. Furthermore, the very nature of such vast preserves means that the elements, wind, rain, snow, and the relentless march of time, conspire to erase evidence with chilling efficiency. Over the decades, countless search and rescue operations have been launched within Yosemite's boundaries, many yielding nothing more than fragmented clues or, more often, absolute silence. This backdrop is crucial for understanding why the original search for the 18 students in 1987 proved so fruitless, and why their fate became entrenched in the park's lore as an enduring, unsettling question mark. Beyond the immediate shock of a missing person, one must consider the profound psychological and operational impact these unresolved cases have on the Park Service and local communities. Each disappearance leaves an indelible mark, shaping safety protocols, influencing public perception, and fostering a deep-seated respect, bordering on apprehension for the wild. The rangers, who dedicate their lives to protecting both the park and its visitors, carry the weight of these mysteries as part of their institutional memory. These narratives of the lost become cautionary tales whispered around campfires, underscoring the raw power of nature and the fragility of human presence within it. Consequently, the investigative landscape of that era also plays a significant role in our understanding. In 1987, search and rescue methodologies, while robust for their time, lacked the technological sophistication we now take for granted. Drone technology, advanced thermal imaging, sophisticated GPS tracking, and DNA analysis were either nascent or non-existent in field operations. Searches relied heavily on ground teams, canine units, and aerial visual sweeps, all of which faced immense limitations in dense terrain or over vast distances. The sheer impossibility of thoroughly combing every crevice and canyon meant that even the most meticulous efforts could, and often did, overlook critical details or the very individuals they sought. This makes the recent discovery of the shoes not just a new clue, but a stark recontextualization of the challenges faced by those who initially searched for the vanished students, highlighting how a hidden, undisturbed location could easily evade even the most exhaustive early efforts. Moreover, the cultural perception of wilderness itself has evolved. In the mid to late 20th century, there was perhaps a more romanticized, less acutely risk-averse view of venturing into the untamed. While safety precautions were always advised, the sheer scale of the wilderness was often seen as an exhilarating challenge rather than an inherent threat demanding constant vigilance. This shift in perspective, alongside advancements in communication and tracking technologies, means that a disappearance today might unfold very differently, with greater immediate resources and a higher likelihood of swift resolution. Yet, the wilderness retains its fundamental capacity for mystery, reminding us that even with all our modern tools, some secrets remain stubbornly, chillingly, just out of reach. The 18 individuals, A cohort of college-aged adventurers had meticulously charted a multi-day trek through a lesser-known section of the park, a route specifically chosen for its challenging elevation gains and remote, pristine landscapes. Their itinerary, recovered from expedition logs, detailed a traverse through an area characterized by steep granite slopes, interspersed with dense conifer forests and a network of seasonal streams, making it a demanding yet rewarding endeavor for experienced hikers. The group was known to be well-equipped, carrying standard backpacking gear, including tents, cooking supplies, and robust first aid kits, suggesting a prepared rather than reckless approach to the wilderness. This detailed planning underscores the perplexing nature of their disappearance. They were not novices venturing unprepared into the unknown, but rather individuals with a clear understanding of the backcountry's demands. The chamber where their footwear was found is not a typical, easily accessible cavern. Instead, it is a narrow fissure, a geological anomaly likely formed by ancient seismic activity, burrowed deep within a granite outcrop far off any established trail. Its entrance, concealed by an overhang and dense foliage, would have been nearly impossible to spot without deliberate searching or specific prior knowledge. Inside, the air is remarkably still, cool and dry, a microclimate that contributed significantly to the extraordinary preservation of the artifacts. Each pair of shoes, from sturdy leather boots to lighter trail runners, displayed distinct signs of prior use, consistent with a group having already covered considerable distance. Yet critically, they bore no recent scuff marks or degradation that would suggest an arduous journey into the cave itself, nor any signs of struggle or forced entry within the chamber. This pristine state, coupled with their deliberate arrangement, immediately contradicted assumptions of a frantic, desperate situation, leading to their abandonment. Consider the profound significance of footwear in any wilderness scenario. Shoes are not merely protective. They are foundational to mobility, to navigating treacherous terrain, to maintaining body temperature, and ultimately, to survival. Their deliberate removal, particularly in a remote and unforgiving environment, signifies a critical juncture, a moment of profound decision or incapacitation that defies conventional logic. In the vast expanse of the wild, going barefoot or in socks drastically reduces one's ability to move, risking injury, exposure, and a severe loss of traction on uneven surfaces. This act, therefore, forces investigators to consider scenarios far removed from a simple accident or getting lost, pointing instead towards an event that compelled or allowed for such an extraordinary and uniformly executed action. Furthermore, the specific types of shoes, a mix reflecting personal preference but all suitable for rigorous hiking, indicates individuals who understood the necessity of proper gear. The fact that all 18 pairs were present, neatly aligned, suggests either a collective, synchronized act or a singular, overriding force that dictated this outcome. Rarely, if ever, in documented wilderness emergencies, do entire groups systematically shed their most vital pieces of equipment, unless under extreme duress that alters rational thought processes, such as severe hypothermia or a shared psychological event. The uniformity of the discovery, therefore, transforms the shoes from mere clues into a silent yet potent narrative device, demanding an explanation that transcends common understanding of human behavior in crisis. It compels us to re-evaluate the very definition of a disappearance when such specific, intentional evidence is left behind in such an anomalous setting. Beyond the immediate forensic implications of such an extraordinary find, this discovery fundamentally alters our collective psychology regarding wild spaces. For many, the wilderness embodies a sanctuary, a place of escape and rejuvenation, where the challenges are primarily environmental: the weather, the terrain, the wildlife. Yet the perfectly arranged shoes introduce an entirely new dimension of unease. It's no longer just about the known perils of nature, but the unsettling possibility of an unexplained human intervention or event, one so profound it defies conventional understanding. This transforms the landscape from merely formidable to potentially enigmatic, imbuing it with a silent, watchful quality that hints at secrets far deeper than geological formations or ecological processes. Now, when you venture into the expansive quiet of a national park, the rustle of leaves or the distant call of an animal might not just be nature's symphony, but a subtle echo of a mystery that challenges our very perception of safety and the boundaries of the human-nature contract. This profound enigma also forces a critical re-evaluation of cold case methodologies, particularly when faced with evidence that is not only decades old, but also fundamentally anomalous. Traditional missing persons investigations often hinge on locating remains, identifying a cause of death, or finding scattered personal effects that tell a story of struggle or accident. Here, however, we have an organized, intentional seeming deposit of all the essential mobility items for an entire group, devoid of any other accompanying traces. This shifts the investigative paradigm from what happened to them to what happened that made them do this. It compels investigators to consider scenarios that lie far outside the standard playbook, pushing into realms that might involve unusual psychological phenomena, cult-like group dynamics, or even external influences that remain utterly speculative. Imagine the task of building a profile when the most significant piece of evidence is a deliberate, yet inexplicable absence of the subjects themselves, highlighted by the symbolic presence of their discarded footwear. Furthermore, the very nature of this discovery taps into a deeply ingrained human need for narrative closure. For 36 years, the families and the public have lived with an open-ended question mark, a story without a final chapter. The shoes, while offering a tangible link to the past, paradoxically deepen the mystery rather than resolve it. They provide a new beginning to the inquiry, but one fraught with more questions than answers, challenging our innate desire to categorize, explain, and ultimately, to understand. When confronted with such a stark, inexplicable void, the human mind struggles, often resorting to speculation, myth-making, or even a profound sense of unease that can ripple through a community. It's a testament to our relentless pursuit of meaning, even when faced with a silence that screams louder than any explanation. The absence of a clear, rational explanation leaves a vacuum that can be filled by anything from the plausible to the profoundly unsettling, impacting how we collectively process grief, fear, and the unknown. Such an unsettling revelation compels us to ponder the ethical dilemmas inherent in disturbing a site that has, for decades, held a silent vigil over a profound human tragedy. How does one balance the imperative of forensic investigation with the sanctity of a place that feels almost like a memorial, a tomb without bodies? Every step taken, every item moved, every sample collected risks altering the very message the site offers. It becomes a delicate dance between scientific rigor and profound respect for the unknown fate of those who once owned these now sacred objects. This isn't merely a crime scene. It's a historical timestamp, a geological vault that has preserved a moment of profound human mystery. The methods employed must be meticulously planned, not just for scientific accuracy, but for an almost spiritual reverence, acknowledging that the act of investigation itself carries significant weight, potentially disturbing a long-held secret that the earth itself has guarded. Ultimately, the enduring shadow cast by this case, now dramatically re-illuminated, forces us to confront the limits of our understanding when the unnatural appears within the natural. We are accustomed to explaining events through physics, biology, and human psychology, but what happens when the evidence seems to defy all three? The arranged shoes in a hidden cave push beyond simple accidents or even deliberate foul play into a realm that suggests a profound, perhaps even ritualistic act. It asks us to consider whether there are forces, human or otherwise, or psychological states so extreme that they can compel actions so utterly outside the bounds of rational behavior as to leave behind a scene that resonates with an almost alien logic. This compels us to look beyond the immediate facts and grapple with the unsettling possibility that some mysteries are designed to remain just that, enigmas that challenge our deepest assumptions about the world and our place within its vast, untamed corners. Amidst the perplexing silence of the cave, several compelling, yet often misleading theories invariably surface when confronted with such an anomalous discovery. One common misconception in wilderness disappearance cases revolves around the phenomenon of paradoxical undressing, where individuals suffering from severe hypothermia inexplicably begin to remove their clothing. While this physiological response is a documented, albeit tragic, reality in some exposure deaths, its application to the Yosemite shoe discovery strains credulity. Consider the specifics: 18 pairs of footwear, not entire outfits, meticulously arranged in a dry, sheltered chamber, untouched by the elements. Hypothermia-induced disrobing typically involves a frantic, disoriented stripping of garments in an exposed environment, often resulting in scattered items and a profound lack of organization. The scene in the Yosemite cave, conversely, speaks to a deliberate, almost ritualistic act, wholly inconsistent with the chaotic final moments of hypothermia victims. Beyond physiological explanations, the sheer improbability of the find naturally sparks debate about potential human intervention long after the initial disappearance. Could this be an elaborate hoax, a cruel and calculated act designed to reignite a decades-old mystery for some unfathomable purpose? The challenges in definitively disproving such a theory are significant. Forensic techniques, while advanced, face immense hurdles when dealing with artifacts preserved for nearly 4 decades in a stable environment. Dating the precise moment of the shoe's placement within the cave, differentiating between authentic wear and potential post-event manipulation, or identifying trace evidence from a perpetrator decades later, all push the boundaries of current investigative capabilities. Moreover, the logistical complexity of secretly transporting 18 pairs of specific shoes, arranging them so precisely and leaving no other discernible clues in such a remote location, argues against a casual, spur-of-the-moment deception, pointing instead to an almost impossible feat of clandestine planning and execution. Perhaps the most unsettling and therefore challenging theory to grapple with centers on a shared psychological event, or even a cult-like dynamic within the group. When a collective of individuals performs an act so fundamentally counterintuitive to survival, shedding their most essential means of mobility, it compels investigators to delve into the realm of extreme group psychology. Instances of mass hysteria, shared delusions under duress, or the influence of a charismatic leader compelling irrational actions, though rare, are documented. However, the absence of any other personal effects, any signs of struggle, or any further indication of the student's subsequent movements leaves this theory agonizingly devoid of tangible support. It presents a profound, investigative dilemma. How does one reconstruct a psychological state or a coerced decision-making process from a single, silent, and deeply symbolic piece of evidence without any bodies or witnesses to provide context? Furthermore, the enduring nature of such an unsolved mystery, particularly one involving a popular national park, inevitably breeds a rich tapestry of local legends and speculative narratives. The initial silence surrounding the student's disappearance already nurtured a chilling folklore, whispered among seasoned rangers and curious visitors alike. Now, the shoes add a visceral, tangible element to these tales, potentially blurring the lines between credible evidence and sensationalized conjecture. Consider the difficulty for investigators in navigating this landscape of public fascination and speculation. Each new theory, however outlandish, demands a certain degree of consideration, diverting precious resources and attention from more grounded lines of inquiry. Maintaining objectivity and adhering strictly to empirical evidence becomes paramount, yet increasingly difficult, when a mystery resonates so deeply with our collective imagination and fears of the unknown. Ultimately, these specific challenges and controversies underscore the profound uniqueness of the Yosemite discovery. It defies easy categorization, resisting explanations that typically resolve wilderness disappearances. The organized arrangement of the shoes, the complete absence of any other items, and the remote, undisturbed nature of the cave present an enigma that pushes the boundaries of conventional forensic science and psychological profiling, leaving investigators to contend with a truly unprecedented puzzle that demands a re-evaluation of every established framework. This extraordinary revelation, far from being a localized incident, sends ripples across diverse disciplines, profoundly reshaping our understanding of wilderness environments and human interaction with them. Consider, for instance, the field of forensic taphonomy, the study of decomposition and preservation. The specific microclimate of the discovery site, characterized by its stable temperature, minimal humidity, and absence of biological degraders, provides an unparalleled natural laboratory. Such conditions, which effectively halt the natural processes of decay, compel researchers to re-examine the potential for long-term preservation of organic materials in other similarly isolated geological formations. This isn't merely about the survival of footwear. It offers critical insights into how DNA, fibers, or even latent biological evidence could persist for decades in unexpected locales, thereby expanding the parameters for cold case investigations globally and challenging previous assumptions about the transient nature of evidence in the wild. Moreover, the very existence of such an undisturbed, yet profoundly significant site within a frequently visited national park forces a re-evaluation of wilderness management and exploration protocols. For generations, park services have meticulously mapped trails and identified areas of ecological sensitivity. However, this discovery highlights the vast, uncatalogued realms that still exist, even within seemingly well-understood landscapes. It prompts questions about the ethical implications of exploring these untouched pockets, balancing the pursuit of knowledge and closure with the imperative to preserve pristine natural environments. Are there other hidden chambers, other silent witnesses, waiting to be discovered, and what responsibility do we bear in seeking them out, or conversely, in allowing them to remain undisturbed time capsules? Building on this, the incident significantly impacts the public's perception of safety and the unknown when venturing into vast natural preserves. No longer is the primary concern solely about encountering wildlife or navigating treacherous terrain. An entirely new layer of enigmatic human-related risk emerges. This shift can subtly alter how individuals prepare for outdoor excursions, perhaps fostering a heightened awareness of the psychological dimension of wilderness survival, or even inspiring a new wave of amateur exploration driven by curiosity about similar hidden truths. It underscores that even in an age of ubiquitous satellite imagery and advanced mapping, the Earth retains profound secrets, capable of surfacing decades later with unsettling implications. Consequently, the enduring nature of such a profound mystery, now dramatically reignited, catalyzes a unique form of collective problem-solving in the digital age. Beyond official investigations, online communities, citizen scientists and armchair detectives frequently coalesce around high-profile cold cases. This phenomenon, often fueled by a shared human desire for resolution, brings diverse perspectives and analytical approaches to the table, scrutinizing every detail and proposing myriad theories. While not always yielding direct breakthroughs, this collective engagement can uncover overlooked connections, generate public pressure for continued investigation, and demonstrate the powerful, albeit sometimes unwieldy, capacity of distributed intelligence to grapple with the inexplicable. It showcases how a single, perplexing discovery can transform into a societal project, drawing in minds from across the globe, united by a common quest for understanding. Another crucial layer is the philosophical challenge presented by evidence that defies rational explanation. We are accustomed to narrative arcs in which mysteries are eventually solved, providing a sense of order to the world. However, when an artifact, like these meticulously arranged shoes, offers undeniable presence but absolutely no coherent narrative, it confronts us with the discomfort of irreducible ambiguity. This forces a contemplation on the nature of truth itself. Can evidence exist without an interpretable story? What does it mean for our understanding of reality when a tangible object, clearly linked to human activity, refuses to fit into any known framework of human behavior or natural phenomena? This isn't merely a puzzle, it's an existential query, reminding us that some corners of human experience, especially at the fringes of consciousness or extreme duress, might forever remain outside the grasp of conventional logic. While the philosophical implications of such an irreducible ambiguity loom large, the practical realm of investigation grapples with its own unique set of formidable obstacles and pervasive myths that cling to such an enduring mystery. One significant challenge, often overlooked, resides in the treacherous terrain of human memory. 36 years have elapsed. A span long enough for recollections to fade, distort, or become unconsciously influenced by subsequent events and widespread speculation. Consider the original park rangers, search and rescue personnel, or even casual visitors who might have encountered the group shortly before their disappearance. Their initial reports, while crucial, are now viewed through the hazy lens of time, making re-interviews a delicate dance between retrieving authentic detail and sifting through layers of reconstructed memory. Moreover, the human mind, in its earnest desire for coherence, often fills gaps with plausible yet ultimately fabricated details, posing a profound impediment to constructing an accurate timeline or identifying overlooked anomalies from the distant past. A further forensic dilemma arises from the very conditions that preserved the shoes so remarkably. The cave's stable microclimate, while a boon for artifact integrity, simultaneously complicates the precise dating of the object's placement within the chamber. While the shoes themselves can be dated to their manufacturing period and general wear, distinguishing between a deposition in 1987 and a clandestine placement at some later point, perhaps years or even decades after the initial disappearance, presents an almost insurmountable hurdle. Forensic science, for all its advancements, struggles to differentiate between dust layers accumulated over 36 continuous years versus those disturbed and redeposited at a subsequent unknown date, particularly in an environment so devoid of external contaminants. This perfect preservation becomes a double-edged sword, offering incredible detail, yet withholding the most critical piece of chronological information. Then there is the perplexing silent witness paradox inherent to this discovery. The shoes are undeniably present, a tangible link to the vanished students. Yet they offer absolutely no narrative beyond their mere existence. They are a focal point that provides no trajectory, no motive, no glimpse into the events that led to their abandonment. This interpretative paralysis leaves investigators in a quandary, confronted with robust physical evidence that is narratively mute. Every theory, from a shared psychological break to an external coercive force, lacks definitive substantiation from the primary evidence itself. The shoes, in their stark, organized silence, compel speculation rather than providing answers, transforming the investigation into an ongoing exercise in attempting to derive a coherent story from a scene that seems designed to defy explanation. Now, consider the immediate challenges that arose after the discovery. The moment the cave was breached, it ceased to be a perfectly preserved time capsule. The race against contamination began, requiring meticulous protocols to secure the site, prevent degradation by human presence, and ensure that every piece of evidence collected was handled without introducing new, confounding variables. This wasn't merely a crime scene. It was a unique geological and historical site, demanding an almost archaeological precision. The delicate balance involved in collecting minute trace evidence, pollen, fibers, microscopic soil samples, without inadvertently altering the cave's pristine environment or contaminating it with contemporary biological or material traces, represented an immense and immediate hurdle for the initial responders and subsequent forensic teams. Furthermore, the void of explanation surrounding such an anomalous discovery inevitably fuels an array of elaborate, often sensationalized theories. The perfect crime myth, for instance, suggests that the utter lack of any other evidence implies an almost impossibly meticulous, undetectable act of removal of 18 people, a feat bordering on the superhuman. This vacuum becomes a fertile ground for organized conspiracy theories, which weave together disparate threads of information, real and imagined, to construct alternative narratives that often defy logic and scientific scrutiny. The challenge for official investigators lies not just in finding answers, but in continually addressing and, where possible, debunking these pervasive counter-narratives without the benefit of concrete, irrefutable evidence to present in their stead. The very mystery itself becomes a canvas for human imagination, both rational and irrational, demanding an ongoing, often frustrating dialogue with a public eager for any explanation, no matter how extraordinary. Finally, the psychological toll on the current generation of investigators is a unique and often underestimated challenge. Tasked with reviving a decades-old cold case that defies conventional methodologies, they face not only the immense technical hurdles, but also the profound emotional weight of families' enduring hopes and the historical context of the park's most haunting mystery. This particular case, with its deeply unsettling and inexplicable evidence, demands a level of creative problem-solving and an openness to unconventional thinking that extends far beyond standard training. It forces them to confront the limits of their expertise, pushing them to explore hypotheses that might otherwise seem far-fetched, all while navigating the intense public scrutiny and the silent yet palpable pressure to finally bring resolution to a story that has haunted a nation for nearly 4 decades. Ultimately, the true measure of such an enduring enigma lies not in its eventual solution, which may never arrive, but in its profound capacity to stir the human spirit and challenge the very framework of our understanding. We, as a species, are inherently driven by a need for narrative completion, a desire to neatly package events into comprehensible stories with beginnings, middles, and definitive ends. Yet some phenomena stubbornly resist this impulse, lingering in the periphery of our consciousness as open questions, forcing us to confront the discomfort of ambiguity and the limits of our own knowledge. This particular incident, with its silent, stark evidence, serves as a powerful reminder that the universe, and indeed human experience within it, holds depths that may forever elude our grasp. Consider for a moment the profound utility of these unresolved puzzles. Far from being mere frustrations, they become intellectual crucibles, compelling us to refine our analytical tools, broaden our imaginative horizons, and question established paradigms. When conventional explanations fall short, the mind is forced to venture into uncharted territory, exploring the edges of possibility and fostering a humility that acknowledges the vastness of what remains unknown. This continuous striving, this relentless pursuit of clarity in the face of the inexplicable, is not merely about finding an answer. It is about the invaluable process of intellectual growth itself, pushing the boundaries of scientific inquiry and philosophical contemplation. Furthermore, such a story transcends its immediate circumstances, weaving itself into the broader tapestry of human folklore and cultural memory. It becomes a touchstone, a point of reference that provokes discussion, inspires artistic interpretations, and fuels the collective imagination across generations. How often do we find ourselves drawn to tales of the unexplained, not for their solutions, but for the very sense of wonder and awe they evoke? These narratives serve as powerful conduits for exploring universal themes, the fragility of life, the awesome power of nature, and the persistent human drive to impose meaning upon chaos. They remind us that even without definitive answers, stories possess an enduring power to shape our worldview and connect us through shared curiosity. Perhaps the deepest lesson presented by this ongoing riddle is the importance of embracing the unknown, not as a void to be feared, but as an invitation to perpetual inquiry. In a world that often demands immediate answers and instant gratification, the patience required to live with an unsolved mystery offers a different kind of wisdom. It teaches us to appreciate the journey of questioning, to value the nuanced perspectives that emerge from sustained contemplation, and to find a certain beauty in the persistent shadow of the unexplainable. This acceptance does not equate to resignation. Rather, it cultivates a more profound and enduring sense of wonder, keeping the flame of curiosity alive. Now, reflect on how this grand, unresolved puzzle mirrors smaller, more personal enigmas in our own lives. We all encounter moments that defy easy explanation, situations where the pieces simply refuse to fit. The way we choose to engage with these personal uncertainties, whether we dismiss them, obsess over them, or learn to coexist with their ambiguity, can profoundly shape our personal growth. This larger public mystery echoes that fundamental human experience, urging us to consider the value of continuous learning and the courage it takes to admit when we simply do not know, while still holding space for the possibility of future revelation. In closing, the enduring silence from that Yosemite cavern, punctuated only by the silent testimony of forgotten footwear, stands as a testament to the inexhaustible power of the unknown. It compels us to ask not just what happened to a group of students, but what it means to be human in a world where some questions may never yield definitive answers. The real value, then, lies in the journey of asking, in the perpetual quest for understanding that illuminates not only the world around us, but also the boundless landscapes of our own minds. What deeper insights might we uncover simply by continuing to look, to ponder, and to wonder? The persistent enigma of such profound events, far from receding with time, often deepens its hold on the collective consciousness, transforming from a mere incident into a potent symbol of life's irreducible uncertainties. What truly resonates is not just the absence of answers, but the sheer audacity of the unknown to manifest so tangibly, yet remain utterly inscrutable. This enduring lack of resolution challenges our fundamental human need for order and closure, leaving a narrative suspended in an unsettling limbo. It forces us to grapple with the uncomfortable truth that some stories may never find their final chapter, existing instead as perpetual questions etched into the landscape of our shared experience. This particular phenomenon, now re-illuminated by its silent artifacts, compels a profound introspection into how we perceive reality itself. When evidence defies conventional logic and refuses to fit neatly into established frameworks of cause and effect, it prompts a re-evaluation of our cognitive maps. We are accustomed to a world where every effect has a discernible cause, every disappearance a plausible explanation. Yet here, the very act of discovery only amplifies the mystery, casting a long shadow over our assumptions about human behavior under duress and the limits of scientific inquiry. It becomes a crucible for intellectual humility, reminding us that even with all our advancements, vast realms of experience may lie just beyond our current understanding. Moreover, the legacy of such an open-ended narrative extends far beyond the immediate families and investigators, permeating popular culture and shaping our collective imagination. These stories become modern myths, whispered tales that speak to our primal fears of the wild, the unknown, and the inexplicable aspects of human nature. They serve as a powerful testament to the human spirit's unwavering quest for meaning, even when confronted with an absolute void. This enduring fascination with the unanswerable, rather than diminishing, often intensifies over generations, evolving into a cultural touchstone that both warns and intrigues, perpetually inviting new interpretations and sustained contemplation. Consider, too, the invaluable role such mysteries play in fostering intellectual resilience and critical thinking. When faced with an absence of clear solutions, the mind is spurred to explore unconventional hypotheses, to connect disparate pieces of information, and to challenge its own biases. This process, though arduous, cultivates a mental agility essential for navigating a complex world where not every problem presents a straightforward solution. It teaches us to tolerate ambiguity, to engage in rigorous, open-ended inquiry, and to appreciate the nuanced layers of truth that often lie hidden beneath the surface of apparent simplicity. The journey of seeking, rather than the destination of finding, becomes the true reward. Ultimately, the persistent resonance of this particular enigma serves as a poignant reminder of our inherent curiosity, a driving force that propels humanity forward. It underscores that the greatest value often lies not in possessing all the answers, but in the courage to ask the profound questions, to gaze into the abyss of the unknown, and to remain open to the possibility that some truths may forever elude definitive explanation. As we continue to ponder the implications of such a discovery, we are, in essence, reflecting on our own boundless capacity for wonder, our relentless pursuit of understanding, and the enduring power of stories that challenge us to look deeper, think broader, and never cease to question the world around us. Beyond the immediate implications for the cold case itself, this extraordinary discovery subtly yet profoundly recalibrates our understanding of wilderness environments and our place within them. For generations, the vast, untamed expanse of national parks has been celebrated as a sanctuary, a realm where nature's grandeur offers solace and challenge. Yet, the revelation of 18 perfectly aligned pairs of shoes in a hidden cave injects a new, unsettling layer into this perception. It shifts the narrative from the predictable perils of the wild, like treacherous terrain or unpredictable weather, to an entirely different, more existential form of unease. Now, a trek into the backcountry might carry not just the risk of physical challenge, but the chilling possibility of encountering an inexplicable human void, a testament to events that defy rational explanation and leave behind only profound questions. Furthermore, this phenomenon compels a re-evaluation of the very role national parks play in our national consciousness. They are no longer solely seen as ecological preserves, guardians of biodiversity, or sites for recreational escape. They become unintentional custodians of deep, unresolved human enigmas. This particular cave, transformed from a geological anomaly into a silent archive, highlights how nature can preserve not just ancient fossils or geological formations, but also modern human mysteries, holding them in a timeless embrace until an unforeseen moment of revelation. It forces a subtle yet significant shift in how we might view these protected lands, as not merely landscapes to be traversed, but as vast living repositories of untold stories, some of which may forever remain just beyond our grasp. Consequently, a subtle but significant shift is emerging within search and rescue, SAR, and broader investigative paradigms. Traditionally, SAR operations prioritize locating individuals or signs of distress consistent with accidents, exposure, or foul play. However, a case like the Yosemite shoes demands an entirely different approach, one that accounts for patterned anomalies. It compels agencies to train personnel not just to find what is missing, but to recognize and interpret what is intentionally left behind in a manner that defies conventional logic. This necessitates a new grammar of investigation, where the sheer order and uniformity of evidence, rather than its disarray, becomes the most perplexing and critical clue, forcing a recalibration of what constitutes a sign in a wilderness context. This reimagining of investigative frameworks extends beyond SAR, influencing forensic archaeology and the interpretation of cultural sites where the absence of expected artifacts or the unusual arrangement of those present might hold profound, yet previously overlooked significance. Moreover, the case underscores the unique economic and cultural ripple effects such a high-profile, unsolved mystery can generate. While the park's primary appeal remains its natural beauty, the reignited enigma introduces a complex dynamic for local tourism and related industries. It could attract a distinct segment of mystery tourists, or dark tourists, individuals drawn specifically to sites of unexplained phenomena or tragedy, alongside those who might now approach wilderness recreation with a newfound apprehension. This subtly recalibrates the park's public image, adding a layer of compelling, albeit unsettling, intrigue that might draw some, while potentially deterring others who seek an unburdened escape. It highlights how the intangible specter of an unsolved human story can become an unexpected, powerful force shaping public engagement with a natural landmark. Pondering these revelations, the profound concept of negative evidence gains immense practical weight. This case exemplifies how the absence of expected signs, no struggle, no scattered belongings, no bodies, becomes the most compelling yet frustrating form of evidence. It forces investigators, and indeed anyone attempting to unravel the mystery, to develop sophisticated frameworks for interpreting what isn't there. How do you build a narrative around a void? This challenge extends beyond criminal justice into fields like historical research or even theoretical physics, where the non-occurrence of an anticipated event can be more informative than its presence. The Yosemite shoes serve as a stark, tangible lesson in the power of the unsaid, the unseen and the unhappened to shape our understanding of reality, compelling us to look for meaning not just in what is present, but in the eloquent silence of what is profoundly, inexplicably absent. The initial jolt of discovery, the profound visual of those 18 pairs of shoes, meticulously arranged in that secluded chamber, reverberates far beyond the immediate shock of a long-lost cold case reopened. It fundamentally alters our collective subconscious understanding of wild spaces, transmuting them from realms of predictable, albeit formidable natural challenges into landscapes capable of harboring profoundly unsettling human enigmas. This isn't merely about the historical record of disappearances, which often speak to the harsh realities of the untamed. It's about an artifact that screams with a silence so potent it compels us to question the very fabric of logic and human behavior under duress. The wilderness, once a canvas for adventure and survival, suddenly reveals itself as a silent vault, preserving not just geological time, but a frozen moment of inexplicable human action, forcing us to recalibrate our deepest assumptions about safety, agency, and the boundaries of the comprehensible. Drawing these intricate strands together, we find ourselves at a precipice where conventional investigative methodologies and psychological frameworks struggle to gain purchase. The sheer, deliberate order of the discovered items, an act so fundamentally contrary to survival instincts, acts as a powerful disruptor, challenging every established protocol for deciphering wilderness incidents. It's as if a grand, elaborate cipher has been presented, yet one crafted in a language utterly unknown, demanding not just interpretation, but a reimagining of the very lexicon of understanding. This isn't a puzzle where missing pieces need to be found. It's a puzzle where the found pieces are themselves the greatest mystery, compelling a shift from asking, "What happened to them?" to the far more unsettling, "What happened that made them do this?" The implications ripple outwards, forcing us to confront the limitations of our scientific tools when faced with evidence that, while undeniably tangible, remains narratively mute. As we contemplate the convergence of these insights, a deeper, more existential current emerges. For decades, the unresolved fate of these individuals left a void, a persistent yearning for narrative closure that is deeply ingrained in the human psyche. The shoes, while offering a visceral connection to the past, paradoxically deepen this void, transforming it from a simple absence into a profound, almost ritualistic question mark. They become a mirror, reflecting our own discomfort with irreducible ambiguity, forcing us to confront the unsettling reality that some truths may forever remain just beyond our grasp, suspended in a timeless echo. This challenges not only our investigative prowess, but also our philosophical comfort with a world that often demands clear resolutions, leaving us instead with a compelling yet elusive testament to the unexplainable. The cumulative weight of these considerations compels us to reflect on the broader societal and intellectual challenges presented by such a profound enigma. It fosters an environment where the boundaries between credible evidence and speculative narrative become fluid, where the very act of investigation is burdened by the ghost of past failures and the psychological toll of confronting an anomaly that defies categorization. This isn't merely about solving a case. It's about navigating the labyrinthine corridors of human memory, the subtle distortions of time, and the pervasive influence of collective myth-making. The very act of inquiry becomes a testament to human resilience, an ongoing journey that tests the limits of our analytical capabilities and forces us to embrace a more nuanced, perhaps even humble understanding of the world's enduring secrets. Reflecting on this odyssey of discovery and bewilderment, it becomes clear that the path forward demands not just meticulous investigation, but a profound openness to the unconventional. The shoes, these silent witnesses, stand as a powerful reminder that some stories refuse to be neatly filed away, continuing instead to whisper their unsettling questions across the decades. They compel us to look beyond the obvious, to listen to the silences, and to consider the profound implications of what remains stubbornly, chillingly unexplained. This enduring quest for understanding, sparked by an anomaly so striking, prepares us now to consider the deeper, more universal lessons that such an ultimate mystery imparts. The final image remains etched in the mind. 18 pairs of hiking shoes, perfectly preserved, eerily aligned in a forgotten cave. This isn't merely the reopening of a decades-old cold case. It is a profound, almost primal confrontation with the limits of human understanding, a silent testament to an event so utterly anomalous that it transcends the boundaries of conventional explanation. These shoes are no longer just artifacts of a vanished group. They have become a potent symbol of the inexplicable, a tangible question mark suspended in time, forcing us to grapple with a narrative that refuses to conform to our logical frameworks. The discovery compels us to look beyond the immediate facts and ponder the deeper implications of what happens when the natural world reveals a secret that feels fundamentally unnatural, challenging our deepest assumptions about safety, survival, and the very essence of human agency. This enduring enigma, far from offering solace or clarity, instead deepens the mystery, transforming a tragic disappearance into a philosophical inquiry. It asks us not just what fate befell Emily Carter, Daniel Evans, and their fellow students, but what profound, perhaps even ritualistic circumstances could compel an entire group to shed their most vital means of wilderness mobility in such a deliberate, uniform manner. The absence of bodies, of struggle, of any other personal effects, amplified by the precise arrangement of their footwear, creates a vacuum that defies our innate human need for narrative completion. It forces us to acknowledge that some truths may simply exist beyond our current capacity for comprehension, lingering as a persistent echo in the vast, untamed corners of our world, forever inviting speculation while simultaneously resisting definitive answers. The true impact of this Yosemite revelation lies in its power to recalibrate our relationship with the unknown. In an age saturated with information, where every query seemingly yields an instant answer, this mystery stands as a stark reminder of the intellectual humility required when faced with irreducible ambiguity. It is a crucible for curiosity, compelling us to refine our analytical tools, broaden our imaginative horizons, and question established paradigms that might otherwise remain unchallenged. This relentless pursuit of clarity, even when definitive answers remain elusive, is not a mark of failure, but a testament to the enduring human spirit of inquiry. It teaches us that the journey of questioning itself holds immense value, fostering intellectual growth and a deeper appreciation for the nuanced layers of reality that often lie hidden beneath the surface of apparent simplicity. Moreover, this haunting narrative transcends its specific context, weaving itself into the broader tapestry of human folklore and cultural memory. It becomes a modern myth, a whispered tale that speaks to our primal fears of the wild, the inexplicable, and the profound fragility of human life in the face of nature's awesome power and silent mysteries. These stories, precisely because they are unresolved, possess an enduring power to shape our worldview, to provoke discussion, and to foster a collective sense of wonder that connects generations through a shared fascination with the edges of human experience. They serve as a powerful reminder that even without definitive answers, such narratives possess an unparalleled capacity to illuminate not only the world around us, but also the boundless landscapes of our own minds. Therefore, as we continue to grapple with the silent testimony of those 18 pairs of shoes, the true practice begins now. The ongoing cultivation of wonder, the unwavering commitment to critical thought, and the courage to embrace the discomfort of the unknown. Let this profound mystery serve as an enduring catalyst for deeper reflection, a subtle encouragement to look beyond the obvious, to listen to the silences, and to never cease questioning the world around us. For it is in these liminal spaces, where logic meets enigma, that the most profound insights often reside, forever challenging us to expand the boundaries of our understanding and to appreciate the enduring, captivating power of the unexplained. The greatest mysteries are not those that are solved, but those that forever remind us of the infinite possibilities that lie just beyond the horizon of our current knowledge.